Hello, welcome to another episode of Muse.
Make sure you like and subscribe and hit that notification bell, fam.
Welcome everyone to episode 19 of Muse, and today we have Dilz all the way from Foxton, which is like, I don't even really know where that is, man. You said something there about Palmerston North, is that right? Around
Yeah,
the area?
between Palmerston North and Levin, it's on State Highway 1. So if you ever really go to Wellington, you'll usually go through it. It's like a little town, 5,000 people maybe.
5,000.
Yeah, I'd say around that. All we've got really is a New World and heaps of fish and chip shops.
True, that's kind of relatable because, I mean, I live in Takanini, but the school I teach at, Head of Music, is Waiuku. And so that's actually made me think, what is the population of Waiuku? I think it's like 8,000 maybe. But we have a New World, so sometimes at lunchtime I'll pop down and, get a kai from the New World or Danny's Chips.
Yeah.
Yeah, but interesting. So kind of similar situation to where we're at, man. That's cool.
Yeah, small town, and the thing is, everybody knows everybody here.
Yeah.
And so one of the toughest things on my come up has been getting the local support to see me as Dilz rather than just Dylan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody knows I school with everybody. Everybody's related, so they don't look at me as an artist. So I don't really have my hometown support the way most people do because everybody just sees me as me.
Oh, that's really, dude. That is really relatable for the sort of like area that I'm in, and I'm sure the kids will be able to relate with that sort of stuff, right? That's very cool.
Like I can't really throw a show in Foxton. People are like, "Why would I pay to come see you? I see you every day." You know what I mean? So it's really hard trying to get that hometown to back me. I think now that I'm making some pretty major moves, like being quite proud and starting to think with my success and jump on board and share and talk the talk, but it's been a struggle trying to get their backing. But yeah, we're getting there, I guess.
But you've stuck at it, and now you're doing what you're doing, and here you are. I mean, this show has kind of just recently started, so it's not the biggest show in the world by any means, but it's like awesome to have you on, and thank you for being here. That means a lot. It means a lot to me, and definitely to the kids that are watching at my school and from where else. So tell us about. So your real name's Dylan, is that right?
Correct. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. What got you into music, and tell us about who Dilz is. Dilz is obviously your character or alter ego as a musician. It's a good place to start.
Yeah. So the nickname just comes from that's what everybody's always called me. And it's like, well, why would I come up with a name that nobody's ever heard of or ever called me when I could just go Dilz, which is how my gran addresses me and my mum addresses me, my sister addresses me. So I just ran with it, and I'm quite proud because I feel like there's a lot of my own personality and self-identity within that Dilz because at the end of the day I'm still Dylan, and I feel like that name just comes with that. My background in terms of music, so my dad, he's always a guitar player, and probably about the age of 6 I got like a little ukulele-sized guitar, but it was a real guitar. Like it had 6 strings and the cut out. It was a proper guitar, but ukulele-sized. And he started teaching me how to play guitar. So my first song was Stand By Me, and then I learned the Pink Panther theme song. And then I learned Under the Bridge from Red Hot Chili Peppers and thought I was the man because I was playing something that was on the radio now. And eventually I learned how to use a computer. And then I was on my own YouTube and tutorials and guitar tabs, ultimate guitar tabs or something like that. And I was just teaching myself, and I got pretty good at it. Like I was playing guitar for years and years, and I went through primary school playing it, ended up in college playing it, and I ended up in a metal band. So I was in a metal band, I was the lead guitarist, and I was the songwriter. And
Wow.
we were called Serene Silence. And I think that was when I was around 14. I'd say around 14. And the next year for music, I took it again, but a lot of the band members didn't. And I was kind of on that thing of, well, I'm relying on everybody else. Being in a band, I'm just one of the many members, and I need all of them to be able to do what I need to do. So I was like, how can I do this solo? And so I'm always loved hip-hop. I remember the Curtain Call album from Eminem was like my 8th Christmas present type thing, you know what I mean? Like, I've got a background where I've always listened to hip-hop, and I have a passion for it. It speaks to me. And, I just decided, because I can't sing, so I obviously took my songwriting skills from being in the band and stuff like that and because I couldn't sing, I had to rap. And yeah, here we go. I think 9 years later, I think I started rapping in 2012.
Wow. What age did you get curtain call?
Oh, whenever that came out. So I think that was like 2006. So I must have been like, I think about 8. I'm not too sure.
True.
Yeah.
Man,
yeah.
I remember when that album came out because I'm 38 this year, man, and I had a lot of love for Eminem. I think one of the albums that really changed my perception of him a lot was obviously like the Marshall Mathers LP, like the first one, but the one after that, which I think was called the Eminem Show, like those lyrics, like because he produced that himself with like Dre kind of being executive producer, but Eminem was responsible for a lot of those beats, and you can kind of tell, but the lyrics are pretty crazy.
And underrated as a producer too.
Yeah,
like when people talk about Eminem, they don't ever talk about the production Eminem does. So I'm actually surprised that you're talking about the production. That's a new one. I love his production, and I've heard some of the songs he's produced for Nas and Jay-Z, and he produced a lot of his own artists like 50 Cent and the D12 Boys and that. So it's really cool that you've talked about that side of Eminem.
Yeah, well, that's, and I thank a lot of people that kind of taught me, because back in my day when I was a kid, I'd go through my dad's record collection and you'd have to sit there, and we spoke about this in a previous episode, the ritual of pulling the vinyl out, putting it down, and actually then you'd need to spend time with it, because it's not like on Spotify and Apple Music when you can just skip a track. You kind of needed to engage with it, so when you're sitting there, you're going through the liner notes, and then you kind of ask, what's that guy doing? Like, what's a producer? And so that kind of led me down the track of learning about what a producer does. And I if you talk to my kids, they'll say, Mr. Rurik talks way too much about listening to music and all that. And to be honest, like, that's true, because I'm passionate about everything. Like, people don't realize, especially with hip hop, like a style that I didn't really get into until probably the early 2000s, like actually late 1999. Once I understood where it came from, the roots of hip hop, why it evolved, where it came from, it's kind of like blues, but in a modern times in some form. And so 100%. The producer is, like, to me, such an important person, because they're the ones, like, if you, because, hey, look, let's talk about this for a little bit, because I think this is interesting, is like NWA. And, when I was young and I heard that, I was like, oh man, these guys are crazy. But when you go read their stories and you find that Ice Cube was writing a lot of the lyrics, Eazy wasn't the guy writing, he was just singing. Dr. Dre's this guy who was actually like a really clever, smart dude, wasn't really a gangster guy, but he came from the hood, like Compton, and so he's writing, and they're just writing about real life. You just like, that's what I love I just got goosebumps. That's what I love so much about hip hop and rap, is that it's people talking about real life, and the producer is there to make sure that that's authentic and real, and they capture it on the recording. You know what I'm talking about, because you're a rap star. Talk to us about what you do, man.
I definitely write about my life as well. But and saying what you were just saying about listening to the vinyl back to back, etc. I find when as an artist listening to music, I'm always studying it. So if I'm listening to a song, I actually get not disappointed. I kind of, it's upsetting sometimes when I just want to listen and just chill back, but I can't, because my music ears are always on. And so I'm listening to their lyrics, their flows, their rhyme schemes. I'm listening to the mixing, how the drums sound, how the snare hits. I'm listening to the cadence, the delivery. I break down everything in every song, because I know how it all works. And so I might hear a certain cadence, and then I might hear a certain this or a certain that, and then I'm listening to that, and I'm like, how can I use something like that, or how can I do that but better, or how can I put that into my music? Like, I feel like listening as an artist, we're always studying, and that's why, like we talked about earlier, we should never really just categorize music into genres, because you can take something from every song you listen to. I mean, my personal playlist, I'm listening to Eminem and D12, 50 Cent and that, but then I'm listening to Ed Sheeran, Adele, Meghan Trainor. Then I listen to some Johnny Cash, some Garth Brooks, and then Metallica and Slipknot. Like, my playlist is crazy, and I can pull different things that can still inspire me in my music from all of these different artists and genres and songs. So yeah, for sure. I definitely, you got to have that listening cap on, and when you're listening, study what you're listening to.
Right. That is incredible stuff, man. And the reason I say that is because it's so lovely to hear from, like, other musicians that, you know, that's how they do it as well. It kind of reinforces that what I'm teaching my kids, and all music teachers do this, man. We always say the same thing. It's listen to as much music as you can and pay attention to it, because that music is your teacher. Do you know, like...
That's how you're going to grow and develop. I mean, it sounds stupid as, but honestly, somebody who I think is crazy with the rhyme schemes isn't even a rapper. It's Ed Sheeran. Like, listen to his songs. He's got the rhyme schemes. He's not just rhyming the last word. He's internally rhyming, and he's changing his cadence to make certain things rhyme that you usually wouldn't, like an Eminem would. But he's doing it in a completely different genre.
There was that song this is really in his early days, actually. That's how I kind of like had more respect for Ed Sheeran. Two things happened. Was one, I heard A-Team and someone had said, did you actually listen to the lyrics of the song? And I was like, nah.
A-Team rhymes with Daydream, rhymes with 18, right?
And you know what the song's about, right?
I can't remember. I haven't heard that for years.
Dude,
I just kind of...
It's about a girl that's addicted to like crack cocaine or crystal meth. And so,
okay.
And so
I'd have to listen to it again
go
now.
Do it. When after this, go, you know, when you get time, go check it out. And there was another one during that time where he raps heaps. He basically just he is freestyle like hard, and he's like his flow is, he's in the zone. You know what I'm talking about, when you're in the zone and the rhymes just come, and you know what you're gonna say.
The song "Don't" is one of the big ones that made me go, "Wow, he's rhyming." Like A-Team as well, though. Like I just said, A-Team, Daydream, A-Team, and 18. Like that's rhyme schemes. You know, that's clear. But yeah, his rhymes on that "Don't" song is what perked my ears to him as a songwriter.
So who are some of the influences for you as like an artist that you can talk to and say, you know, this is how you can hear some of the stuff maybe in some of my music. Maybe the students can't hear that in your music, but at least you can say these are some of the guys that really influenced my style. Because it's interesting to know you went from kind of playing in a metal band to going into hip hop. That's cool, man. This is my breakdown for me giving props to where I am today. My first and foremost inspiration is Eminem. He is like the best hip hop artist in my eyes of all time when it comes to the technicality side of things. But then he's putting out some songs that are just rhyming every single word. But then he's putting out hits like "Love the Way You Lie," "Not Afraid," "Lose Yourself," etc. So he's overall for me the greatest. Sorry. And next down the list is an artist called Hobson. He's a rapper from America. Yeah, and I've been following him since 2012 when I started rapping, because I was following him and just as a everyday listener of hip hop. And then I've discovered and find out that he's making all his music at home. He's rapping out of his mum's basement. I'm like, wow, he's doing that. I can do that at home. And so I went and bought myself a budget microphone way back then and learned how to do it. And I started rapping from my parents' shed. So he was my inspiration as to why I should start, as to show me that I could start rapping at home by myself. And then Scribe. So Scribe is a New Zealand hip hop artist, of course. And back in the days, I'd come home from primary school, chuck on Vodafone Select Live on C4, and Scribe would come on TV. And he's in amongst all these international artists like Twista, 50 Cent, and, you know, hip hop artist-wise. And then Scribe's in there. And it's like, he's from New Zealand. He's saying, New Zealand hip hop, stand the F up, you know. And I'm like, he's from New Zealand and he's doing that and he's on my TV. I'm from New Zealand. I can do that. So Eminem got me into hip hop. Hobson taught me that I could make music in my own home, and Scribe showed me that New Zealanders can do it too. So that's my good song. It was a recent one from Hobson actually, where he's kind of walking into a house. I think I can't remember the name of the song. It's kind of, he released a whole lot of other stuff because his main thing was that he's like, I 100% agree. He's incredible. He's amazing. Yet he's not at the level that he should be for some reason. Do you know what I mean?
No. And I think that's just because he's stuck in that underground. And, I mean, there's a lot of people listening to him because he's just putting out music from him, but he's built his own solid fan base. But there's like those gatekeepers, you know, that radio people around the world, and they put on all the festivals. And if you're not getting on that because you don't have the record label backing and stuff like that, then it can be quite hard to break that certain barrier. It's like he's kind of hit his limit of where he can get to at the moment.
But that's why people, you know, like my listeners are going to subscribe to you, because at the end of the day, when they follow you on Spotify and they follow you on YouTube and stuff like that, that's giving props to people that are, you know, that you can see right now. I'm talking to Dilz, and Dilz is putting in the hard work. here he is. He's got great music. Go and check it out. And it's you know, eventually the more noise that your fan base makes, the more people start to pay attention to you.
People don't understand how much word of mouth and like just sharing somebody's song or just telling somebody or just showing somebody can help. Like, I mean, I've got listeners all around the country, and of all of these little listeners, like little fan groups that I have, all just showed like 2 people. My fan base would like multiply, you know what I mean? And you know, if they all get, I mean, it doesn't take too much, but you just have to do something with so much wow factor to pretty much put all these people in the zone to be like Dilz. At the moment, I just come up, you know, in brief conversations, or when people, you know, when I drop a new song, I always feel like I get a little bit more of a following, but I haven't had that big moment where it's just been like, boom, you know what I mean?
It's coming.
You're
putting in the hard work. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
If it doesn't, I'm happy where I am, and I'm happy with the rate that I'm going as well. Like, I'm not about to sit here and be like, I'm so disappointed because these people are hating it. I can't, like, I never see myself getting more than just a few followers, you know what I mean? And now I'm doing tours in New Zealand. I just did my first festival last weekend. So, and I just, you know, opened for Sons of Zion, Kings, and Cora, Lady Six, Rhea Hall. It was a massive lineup, and I was part of it. So I'm doing something right.
Yeah, absolutely, man, 100%. There's one other artist I wanted to mention to you actually before we do a change topic a little bit. I'm just trying to think of the guy's name. A lot of these artists the kids show me at school, like Hobson, I found out from someone. He did that really fun song when he's mocking the people about auto tune. And then so that's how I learned that one. But there's another guy. It's the guy that raps on Eminem's album Kamikaze. He's I can't remember.
Donell Lewis?
Was it? Yes.
Oh, he's top 5 for me. That guy. There has never been another artist out there that does this to me. But I listen to his songs. I listen to some of his songs, and it's the way he tells the stories, and the videos come together, and I listen to it, and I'm like, why could I not think of something like that? How come he did that and I couldn't? I'm useless. Like this guy, he's the only one that's ever done that to me. Like, I can listen to everybody else and appreciate their music, but when he tells a story and he does it the way he does it, and then I see the video, and I'm just like, man, this guy's way better than me. Like, you know what I mean?
There's another one, another couple, Atmosphere. Do you know him? Have you heard of him before?
I don't think so.
If you haven't heard, go check him out. I'll leave you for that one. The other interesting point I wanted to make was Corey Taylor is almost a rapper from Slipknot in some ways. Yeah.
No, he's been doing music in the hip hop world too. He literally put out a song with Hobson and Tech Nine like a couple months ago.
True.
On his own, he did like a solo album. Come out with a solo album.
Yeah.
And he put out a song with Tech Nine.
Mean.
Though I'm not sure if that's on his solo album or if it's on Tech Nine's album. I can't remember.
So let's talk about, because it's aimed at school kids and stuff like that, and you know, people that are interested. Let's talk about what hip hop music, you know, is to you, what it means to you, and how it's enhanced your life and changed your life, and you know, and give some advice to students that are listening if they're wondering, you know, if they're listening to rap and they're thinking, I could write some rhymes. You know, what is some advice that you could give them to just get them to pick that? I always like, to be honest, I like paper and pen because it's, you know, like get a diary. But talk to us about this, man. This is a good opportunity to do so.
Just go for it. And I come into hip hop definitely on a lot of conscious type of hip hop. I wanted to make a difference, and I stand by that today. Good. I realize now that you kind of can't just make that one category of music, because then you only have one category of listeners. So I've branched out a lot further than when I came into the game, but I'm always trying to make a difference. I'm keen as like talking to the students, trying to help them, you know, pass on the knowledge. I'm keen as to help other hip hop artists on the come up. I've got a local guy that's living here in Foxton with me, and I've just put him on because I'm doing like a tour at the moment, and I just did a live-in show, and I've got a Palmy show this weekend. I put him on that so that he has a platform to discover what it's like to perform live. I actually just shot and directed a video for him too, and teaching him how to mix and how to record. Brought him around here a few times, and that's just because he's like the only other Foxton artist that's putting in the work. You know what I mean? He's showing that he's serious about it, and I'm all about that. So if I can teach him something in half an hour that took me 2 years to learn how to do, then I'm all for like just teaching him and passing on my knowledge. And when it came to music, like if you listen to my first songs, and now even I'm not trying to sound cocky, but you can hear the growth. But at the end of the day, it's not all about the quality. My biggest song on YouTube was probably one of the first songs I ever made. I put it out in 2013. I just uploaded it with my ex-girlfriend on the chorus, and I was recorded on a way budgeted setup than this little home studio setup, and had no idea what I was doing. I couldn't even rhyme on the beat, and that song got like nearly 400,000 views. Ooh. And it's like, people must have been because it's got a pretty heavy message behind it, and it was the lyrics that they were listening to. And I mean, you'd think a song that sounds that bad and it's got that many views would have a whole bunch of hate in the comments and dislikes and that, but there's hardly any. So I mean, it just shows, it's just a message, and if you're putting your heart into something, it shows.
I want to give a shout out to my students Taimon and Cody, because they were year 10 when they really started to work around how to use Logic and GarageBand, and they grind away, and eventually they wrote a song, and we stuck it on Spotify, and I sent you the link. And dude, I love it. Those lyrics are cool. I mean, it's a fictional story about growing up and things like that, but it's nice. I'm a real big person of conscious hip hop as well, but at the same time, I also appreciate that there is hip hop that is not conscious in it, but it's just fun. Do you know?
Yeah, what I mean? Exactly. It's been a long time to discover that, and now that I create it, I realize I'm touring. Like I said, I did a festival last weekend. 2 weeks ago, I performed in Levin. Next week, I've got Hamilton. This week, I've got Palmerston North, and I've got Wellington and Christchurch. Like, I've got all these shows, and I couldn't be doing all these shows just performing a whole bunch of conscious hip hop. Like, you got to have some turn-up songs, you got to have some fun songs, you got to have some songs that people can vibe to. Like, it's kind of like a whole. You got to have a whole catalog. I had to try to realize that and branch out, and now that I have, I just love it. Like. And to be honest, I have some of my own songs in my gym playlist, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but my conscious hip hop songs wouldn't be in my gym playlist. It's my turn-up songs. So, I love conscious hip hop. I'm all about putting the message out there, but I'm also about having fun and just enjoying the genre and the music and my life doing this as well.
Yeah, I mean, some of my favorite rap albums, and I will listen to this a lot. And I'll mention one thing before we go as well is Lil Wayne. I really like a lot of Lil Wayne stuff because his wordsmith. He's a wordsmith, but he's ridiculous. Crazy.
Yeah, his work ethic is next level. There isn't anybody, I don't think, that's put out as much music as him in the hip hop genre. Like he can put out album, and then he's just on everybody's song, and then he's putting out mixtape, and then he's putting out singles, and then he's doing collab albums, and then he's doing whole label albums with Young Money. He's put out so much music. But yeah, he's definitely a huge inspiration for me too, that guy. And
when you listen to his story about where he came from and how he grew up and things like that, I mean, respect, man, 100%. And I'm trying to think of a couple of other ones that have got. Dr. Dre, Chronic 2001 is still one of my favorite albums of all time. That's got some of the best beats I've ever heard. That was actually what got me into hip hop initially. Was my mate was like, just listen, bro. Stop just listening to rock music. And I was like, okay. And then eventually I was like, damn, these are some wicked riffs, man. Beautiful arrangements.
Yeah, the production can make you feel some type of way, even without including the words. As soon as you hear the production, sometimes you can just straight, it's a good song, or you could just vibe out.
Yeah, and I think sometimes hip hop and rap, just like rock and metal and death metal, can get bad rep when people realize that what they're singing about in their songs isn't always just true. It's just them talking and getting stuff off their chest, and that don't mean you have to go do it. That's why Eminem's second album was interesting, because he had that song. I can't remember the name. It's gone now, but it's basically him. Talking about people shouldn't be doing what I'm talking about. I'm just having a bit of a joke. There's the song Way I Am, but there's another one, I can't remember it, but regardless, I'm just going to keep stumbling if I try to figure it out. But he kind of accepted that Slim Shady is just a character, and don't do what I'm telling you to do. That's stupid. So hip hop does get a bad rep sometimes.
He says crazy things that are so far-fetched and out the gate that everybody that listens to it just knows that is not real. He's just having fun.
Yeah. One thing I want to mention was actually back in the day when I was in LA, I was on, was it Venice Beach? I can't remember where. It was a honeymoon, And there were rappers, man, on the side of the streets with their CDs, peddling them out for like $10. And I think I've still got one somewhere up there. And I remember going home and it was cheaply recorded, as we talked about before, you know, the underground hip hop scene. But some of the coolest lyrics, like cool beats, it's him telling his story, you know. He's out there trying to make money, you know, selling the CD to people that's walked past him. Unbelievable. I mean, that to me is that's why I love hip hop. Is it's storytelling with a beat.
Yeah.
Do you know?
I did the same thing too. Like with my first CDs, I'd make them myself, sell them for $10 each, do concerts, take them with me to the concerts. I still have like I actually put out an album. It was called Metamorphosis. So this is the album here, and it debuted at number 2 in New Zealand on the charts when it came out in 2018. And the track list, you know, there's crazy thing. I mentioned Scribe being my big inspiration. So Scribe is on here. I worked with Scribe, worked with Smashproof. I worked with Jay Williams. I worked with, if anybody watched Rhythm and Flow on Netflix, Flawless Real Talk got second. He's on this album. So I did a lot of massive things with this album. And yeah, it just goes to show, you know, it pays off if you keep working hard and following your dreams. I was looking at Scribe as an inspiration, and now I've made music with him, gone on tour with him, and he's come to stay at my house type thing. You know what I mean? He's my mate now. So it's a small world in New Zealand, especially. I mean, anybody at your school that probably gets into the New Zealand music scene, you start making it somewhere, you'll probably get to know who I am, because it's quite a small community. I was saying earlier, like on Facebook, I put up a post, and then one of the main band members of Cora and LAB messaged me and quoted my lyrics back to me, and I was just kind of like shocked, like, wow, I didn't know this person knew my music. But if you're putting a song up on YouTube, it gets 50 views, you have no idea who those 50 people are. You know what I mean? It could be Eminem, Dr. Dre, 50 Cent, 3 of those views. You have no idea. So just when you put music out there, make sure you're happy with it, because you have no idea who's going to come across it. And you don't want anybody's first impression of you for it to be like, I do not like this. This sounds horrible. So only put out stuff that you think is worthy of being heard by the world.
True, dude. Incredible advice. I actually don't even need to ask my question. When I asked you something before, I asked you about some advice for kids, and I got my answer. We usually use 3 words for the title of the episode, and the 3 words I'm going to use is go for it.
Go for it. Yeah, that's a good one.
It is, man.
I like it.
Because at the end of the day, I could sit here with my piece of paper, and I could sit here with my pen, and I could sit here listening to the music, but until I put the pen and the paper and the music together, I ain't going to have anything. So you have to go for it. Go for
it.
Shot,
and then you get your eye at, you know what I mean?
Dilz, it's been incredible to have you on. I really appreciate this chat, and as you can tell, I'm very passionate about every style of music, and I do have I don't know everything, but I have a reasonable knowledge about a lot, and I'm always willing to learn. You've definitely taught me some stuff tonight myself, man. I really, really appreciate it.
Well, that's cool. I'm glad that's awesome that I was able to teach you something, and hopefully the school students learn something. And like I keep saying, feel free if you're a school student or whatever and you're listening, and you're someone on YouTube or Spotify listening, go search up DILZ. I'm all over the place, like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever else there is. And just flick me a message, because I'm an openly friendly guy. And if anybody wants advice, or you need to ask a question, or you're getting stuck, or you're not too sure what to do to take the next step, or you want to ask me something about my journey, just go ahead, and I'm here.
Well, when you're up in Waiuku area, Auckland next time, and you've got time, man, flick me a message. Let's see if you can come out and talk to the kids in person. That would be real cool.
That would be cool. I actually at the end of last year went back to my college, my high school. And I put on a fundraiser charity concert for their music department, where I held a gig in Foxton that was open to the public on a Friday night, and all of the proceeds went back into the music department to help the developing students.
Awesome.
And to promote that, I came in and talked to the students as a whole, as a collective, at one of their assemblies about my journey, where I came from, where I am now, what I've achieved, and then did a bit of a performance. And for me, that was probably, that's a highlight of last year for me, because that had a positive impact on, not just because it was my community, but just a bunch of people on the come up.
Carrying the torch, man. You're carrying the torch.
I try to, wherever I can help. I'm not a selfish person, so I'm definitely always about coming back to the community, helping those that need it, and I pride myself in doing so.
Good man. So you know what to do, people. Just make sure you, I'm going to say this because the kids keep bugging me. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe and hit the little bell notification. And make sure you click on the links that Dilz has put down below so you can go check his music out. Once again, Dilz, thank you so much for being on the show. And make sure you have a good night. We'll talk again soon.